You're listening to the Act As If podcast with Coach Roel. Real life success stories in business and investing as they happen. And now, here's your host, Coach Roel.
All right, welcome back to part 2 of our interview, Act As If podcast interview with Kelly Gonzalez. Last time we had unpacked, we're going to unpack what we talked about last time, but we had talked about how Kelly has the vision for her future is that she has 2 businesses, one that exceeded $1 million in sales. The second one is close to or is approaching $1 million in sales. And she has been flipping houses or acquiring or doing real estate transactions to the tune of one to two per year, and taking a serious amount of time to make sure that the family life is also invested in with her kids. And so welcome back, Kelly.
Thank you, Roel.
So I'm excited to find out how much of the previous episode that you had shared with me is your vision for your future and how much is actually stuff that's happening right now that is being worked towards. So start us off with your current landscaping business. Is that a real landscaping business today?
It is. It is a real landscaping business. So GDC Toronto Inc. We opened that in 2019. It is true that I lost my job because of the pandemic. Jose left his job. So it is doing well right now. It's sitting at about 500K of sales per year. So my vision is to at least double that.
Excellent. And what is it, put you on the spot? I'm going to put you on the spot a few times in this episode. Well, what is it that GDC Landscaping does specifically? If someone wants to work with you, think, I like this Kelly person. She seems pretty nice. And I'm in the Durham region, so maybe I'll look them up. What is it that you guys do?
We do decks, fences, interlocking, landscaping projects. So the whole backyard kind of renovation, from the artificial turf to, if you want to set up a huge pergola, little outside backyard kitchen, the whole kit and caboodle.
Wow. How did you guys get started with that?
So it was, Jose used to work with a custom home builder. So he had experience at that time. And he said, that's it. Like, tired of working for somebody else. I want to do it on my own. And we, like I said in the previous podcast, we literally started just with the truck we had. He got some workers together and we just started advertising. And really our business has grown pretty much all through referrals. I mean, as we're recording this, we still don't even have a website up for this company. It's been 2 years. So we're so grateful for the clients and customers that we've had. We do take great pride in our clients, kind of treating them like family. So referrals has really boosted us.
Mm-hmm. And are your clients and our customers, are they mostly homeowners, or do you also help with investors?
So they are mostly homeowners.
Okay.
We do some work with investors. Not as many. The investors usually want a kind of quick fix.
Yeah.
But we do some work with the investors, some commercial work as well for larger projects. So yeah, right now, I mean, we're growing.
Mm-hmm. And how, you told a little bit of story. How was it? Did you work full time in it when you lost your job? And like, how was the transition for you?
Yeah.
guys?
So when I lost my job and then Jose lost his, it was automatically, he was on the road building and I was running the whole office, kind of the back end. So answering all the calls, putting out all the quotes. We did hire a bookkeeper to make sure our books were in order. So I'd work hand in hand with the bookkeeper. And then all the advertising, reviews, customer support came to me. and still
Wow,
comes to me
very
at this
good.
point. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then I'm interested in the Speedy Bins because you and I really did talk about this a few months ago, I think, in real
Yeah.
life. And so catch us up. How's that coming along?
Yeah. So I guess months ago, again, it was kind of this aspiration, this dream of, okay, GDC does really well during the prime season, which ends in about November, which I would
Yeah,
say
at
we're
this
recording
time.
that now. Yeah.
Yes.
And then in the winter, it's pretty much dead. So we were looking at what else can we do to supplement that income. And we thought bins. In our GDC as it is, we do rent bins to help with our work. So we thought, what better to invest in another company, start another company that we can also use ourselves.
Right. Very
Um,
smart.
yeah.
And
And
what are these bins like? Are these like the huge construction bins you see on?
the huge
Yeah.
construction. So we have 5-yard bins, which are mainly for the landscape contractors, dirt, gravel, asphalt. And then for either homeowners or commercial clients, we have the 14 and 20-yard bins. So those are those huge dumpster bins. We drop off, the clients put whatever they need into them, and then we just pick it up and take it away.
Okay. And has that launched yet, or where's that
It
at?
has. Yeah.
Oh, well, cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
So do you have a
it hasn't
website yet?
we don't. No, it hasn't even been a full month yet. So I'm currently, though, we have a web designer working with him. We're doing this company differently. We want to get a great head start, to have the website up, to have the presence, to put those ads out there. And because we do have competition in Durham, like in Oshawa. So we need to take that kind of extra step.
Mm-hmm. And now on the real estate side, how have you, what's been the activity like the last little bit and up to the present?
Yeah.
Are you really flipping houses? Are you really holding on to stuff? Because we talked about that.
We are we haven't, because we've been so busy with the 2 businesses right now.
Yeah.
And because we're new business owners, the bank won't finance us right now. But the last transaction we did was December 2019, which was a single family home. And we are currently going through the permits to legalize the basement.
Right. With
COVID and this whole pandemic, like trying to keep that permit situation moving along, it's been awful.
Yeah, I can imagine.
To say the least. So we have the top portion rented out, which is great, obviously. And that covers the mortgage and most of the utilities.
Right.
And now we're just trying to legalize that basement unit. And then once we get that, hopefully refinance, take the equity out and purchase another.
So even though you've been focusing on the businesses as of late, you've done a handful or so of real estate transactions, right?
Yeah. We've always kind of, yeah.
And so your strategy really is, like from the previous episode, you said your main strategy is to, I think, so I've heard other people call it duplexing, turning a single family home and adding a secondary unit and legally.
Yeah.
Why did you choose that strategy in particular?
So we find that to acquire the property, if it's a single family home, it obviously comes in at a lower price compared to buying something that's already legal. And we can add that extra value and gain that extra equity that we build into it. Because again, we can do most of the work on our own through the permit. So for us, it's just a better add-in value.
And on the overall experience of the Act As If, I'm curious to find out your take. But when we recorded episode 1, what was that like for you? Was it weird? Is it something like you do normally, or how was that experience?
Yeah, so a little bit of both. I feel like in the beginning, when you start talking about it, right, because you're projecting what you want to happen, it feels weird. But if you keep going, you get that momentum, you get that good feeling like it is possible. Look at where we were, just 2 years ago and where we are now, realistically, and why.
Well, let's break that down. Where were you 2 years ago? So give us an idea, like the viewers, the listeners, where were you 2 years ago and how far have you come now?
Yeah. So 2 years ago was, I guess, we're in November. So the pandemic was here. I had lost my job. I didn't know what else I was going to do. I had the 3 kids at home and Jose, who had just left his job. So it was really scary. I mean, financially too, right? That causes stress in a marriage. Mm-hmm. He really wanted to go. And at the same time, I felt the need to obviously always have somewhere for my kids. If it was just Jose and I without the kids, I probably would have been a little bit, it would have been easier for me to take that jump. And it's like, okay, we can risk a little bit and it's fine. But when you have kids in the picture, I just felt like, you worry, obviously.
And how much did you visualize? How did you persevere? Do you use any of this stuff, this woo-woo law of attraction, whatever stuff?
I love it, Roel. I love it. And, it's funny because actually, so I lost my job maybe May 2019, somewhere around there. But February of 2019, I actually purchased this course. It was a manifestation course. Okay. So before even getting into starting our own business, I was already, we had the mindset, that investor mindset, for a long time. But I felt like taking it kind of to that next level, almost to the woo-woo level. And so February, I started taking this course. And I think that's what also kind of gave me the confidence when Jose said, I'm going to leave my job. Let's do this. I'm like, I know it's real. I know if you do almost act as if you believe, and it's not just all I'm going to sit here being good vibes every day and look at my vision board and it's going to happen. No, you have to take those extra steps.
Yes. But and that's key. Can you expand on that? Because I know a lot of bad press focuses on, oh yeah, people are just thinking about it and they think it's going to magically happen. And obviously it doesn't for majority. But there's a step that nobody really talks about, which is what you were just touching upon. Can you expand on the action steps part?
Yeah. So, I mean, if we look at the movie, The Secret, have you seen The Secret?
Yes, many times.
Yeah. Right. So it's all about kind of visualizing and they do miss, some of the steps is actually taking that, I called it inspired action. Yes. So you can be in that good zone, feel good, visualize, but there's also sometimes you have to kind of really get in tune, and this is the woo-woo stuff, with your intuition. You have to really trust it, trust the universe, God, whatever you believe in, has your back, and take those baby steps. You have to, just like your podcast, you have to act as if. So for example, business owner, I'm like, okay, we're going to take this step with GDC. Who do I have to be? I have to act as if I'm a real business owner. I'm going to wake up every day. I'm going to be my office manager. I'm, and I'm going to take these steps. I couldn't just lay in bed, visualizing all day that it's going to be successful. You do have to take those inspired steps and actions, and they build upon each other. It's crazy how it does work.
So give me an example of where you were surprised that it's holy crap, this is actually working with your GDC business.
With the GDC business, I think it was the first year that, again, it was little baby steps that we were taking every day. And it was I believed we were going to be successful. It's going to work, taking the steps. And it was just client after client. And when the clients would call, I'm like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. We loved your work. We're referring you. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is tangible. This is real. Because in the beginning, I was fearful. What if they don't like what we're doing? It's new. What if they don't like the deck that was just built? But those calls never came, It was just always positive, customer referrals, one after the other. And then it was, okay, let's think bigger. And I think it was our first, near the end of that first season, I want to say the contract came in at like $70,000 or $80,000.
Wow.
But just
a single contract.
A single contract. Yeah. And it was doing a fence for a subdivision north of the city, and just typing those numbers, like 70,000 on like the quote, the estimate, felt so weird to me because that was more than I made the year prior.
Right.
My whole salary, and now I'm charging somebody, GDC, who was like, Jose and I, this contract amount. And that blew my mind. And I'm like, it's real. Like, Kelly, you run a real business.
Right. Yes. And so you were no longer acting as if you weren't pretending. You're like, I'm the real deal.
To fruition. Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. And then how are you, like, before I approached you about being a guest on this podcast, how were you implementing, what's your version of being able to, get to the next level?
So I think, it's all of it combined. It's taking those inspired action steps. And the more steps you take, like, for example, that first season, that contract, 70 or 80,000, it felt so weird to me, to even ask for the money, deposit and send that. It felt very, I don't know, surreal, not normal. I felt very uncomfortable. And now, the second season in, it's like, oh yeah, like you just normalize it. Yeah. So you get more comfortable once you take that step, you up level, let's say, you get to that next step, you normalize it, you keep taking more steps, and you're going to take that next leap again, up level again, and you just keep up leveling. So right now, from the 500 to get to $1 million, it maybe sounds weird to say, $1 million, but at the same time, it doesn't, because I've seen how we've already hit the 500. And if you would have asked me that 2 years ago, I'm like, again, that number seems so big and unrealistic to me at the time. So you just you normalize and get used to, this shit can happen. You keep acting as if, up leveling, taking those steps of, intuition. I meditate more, Roel. I find meditation, I find it really helps me. I still like to visualize, make my vision boards. I have them on like my computer, my background. So when I turn it on, I have subliminals running at all times in the background as well to get my subliminal mind taking it all in. My cell phone has my vision board. So I still do those little woo-woo steps. It's not all.
That sounds a little crazy.
I know,
but it works. I'm teasing because it's awesome. It's great.
Yeah. And sometimes you got to get a little crazy to make it happen.
Yeah.
Right.
Why do you say that?
I feel like
who's going to think it's crazy?
I think majority of my family and friends still, sometimes I don't even share all this with everybody because I'm like, people are going to think we're crazy, When
this is a safe environment for us to talk about this stuff.
I know. And yes, and I do feel safe with you. This is why I'm kind of sharing all these little tips and tricks that I use, because if somebody's been thinking about it, you can make it happen. It is fearful, but you can make it happen.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Is there, I think we got to get you back on the road and doing like some motivational talks at some point. That's pretty inspiring. Any, along that same train of thought, if someone's watching this thinking, I've heard about that, I've seen The Secret, and that seems kind of weird. I feel a little, awkward sitting in a room thinking about that stuff, visualizing. What would you say to that person who's like seen some of the stuff, read a couple books, maybe watched some YouTube videos, but hasn't really implemented yet? What would you say to that person?
Yeah, I would say, give it a try. You have nothing to lose. So even act as if, give yourself 6 months, I would say, to 12 months, 6 months to a year, act as if, follow that silly little visualization that you've heard about, The Secret, but really give it your all. Give it your all for 1 year, act as if for 1 year, give it a test and see what happens. I mean, the worst case, if nothing changes, what do you lose? Nothing. But if it does work, how much further along can you be? And once you see it working and your life changing, you'll never go back. I would never go back to an employer and think that $50K a year was safe. Like, that's crazy now.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Now, in closing, if someone's watching this on YouTube or listening to it on a podcast, and they want to align themselves with you with something that you've said has resonated either just with the landscaping business or the Speedy Bins business or something else in general, what would be the best way for them to get either more information about either of your businesses or to get in touch with you?
So probably the best place right now as we record this, since like I said, GDC doesn't have a website, Speedy Bins is underway, would be Instagram. So Instagram is where people usually find me at the moment. So my handle is, and this is when I got into the woo-woo stuff, manifesting.mompreneur.
Manifesting.mompreneur.
Yeah.
On Instagram. Okay.
On Instagram. So, right. I mean, contact me there. And if anybody wanted to specifically go to Speedy Bins or GDC, I can always direct them. I mean, if it's another mom looking for advice on how can she move forward, I love talking to other moms as well. And yeah.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Yeah. So guys, if you're watching this or listening to this and something that Kelly has resonated with you, make sure you get in touch with her before she becomes, super big time and untouchable. You're going to have to talk to her people to get through to her.
That's it.
Awesome, Kelly. I really, really appreciate catching up with you about your plans. And I really hope that we can have another podcast episode sometime in the near future so that you can really talk about, all the stuff that we talked about today.
Yes. That I'm looking forward to that, Roel.
Awesome. All right. Till then, Kelly, take care.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to the Act As If podcast with Coach Roel. Real life success stories in business and investing as they happen.